What's up, everyone? This is Buzz Continuum's first ever video discussion forum.
That's right.
Where we're going to talk about everything which is really close to our heart, from movies to superheroes to wrestling, MMA, and much, much more.
That's right.
Before we delve into it, let me just first of all introduce you to the team, the Buzz Continuum team here. So, drum rolls, please. That's Sanjoy right here. That's Amer, and this is Abhishank. We are here for. Can we just do that once? Yeah, it's CLOBBERIN TIME! So it's the month of February, guys, the month of love, and Logan is going to release in
That's
March,
right. That's
and
right.
it's just a month left. Just a month left. Show some excitement, guys. And it's obviously Logan is the most popular and the most loved character, right?
Definitely.
Everyone loves the character. And what we've decided is that Buzz Continuum is going to feature and will have a segment that will majorly focus on the stories which are going to be around the love for mutants that we have.
That's right.
And that is what we're going to cover. So you can catch all those stories, you can read all those stories by going to our site, which is buzzcontinuum.com.
Which is right here, or you can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/buzzcontinuum. So do like, comment, and share our posts on Facebook.
Absolutely.
And please follow us on Twitter because we don't have many followers.
We don't really have so many followers. So, as I say, follow us. You must.
Karnaita is cool.
Could we stick
that
to
was more. I know that
mutants?
was more like Yoda rather than Professor X. So, follow us. You must follow us. See, we've all been huge fans of comic books and
That's right.
superheroes, and we keep discussing about all this stuff. And Logan, which is going to be Hugh Jackman's first, final appearance as. I just don't. You know what? This is, my heart doesn't want that. You know,
Sure.
this is saying first. But anyway, it's going to be the last, his last appearance as the Wolverine.
That's
We
right.
all love that character, and there's been a lot of ups and downs and everything of the character. So. While we were discussing Wolverine, and there has been an evolution, right,
That's
of
right.
the whole thing, we thought that we'll give homage to our one of the most loved characters of all time. So the new trailer that just came like a week back, and we are going to first of all watch the trailer if we can.
Sure.
Wasn't that awesome?
Absolutely.
The action.
Completely.
The music, everything was just insane, right? I mean, I'm really loving this movie. I can't wait to watch this particular movie. What's your take?
So I think they've really outdone themselves this time. If you look at the first trailer that came out, that had the Johnny Cash song "Hurt," which brought a lot of
Very
depth
nice.
and a lot of darkness to the entire trailer. X-Men in itself, the entire franchise has been a very youth-oriented. It's very colorful. If you look at the earlier movies that have come,
Yeah.
it's more of it is oriented towards the youth. But they've deviated a lot where they've taken the concept from Old Man Logan, which is a very serious comic.
Gory.
Yeah, it's very dark. It's very emotional. The only other superhero movie that I think has done such a thing is the Christian Bale's Batman. The Dark Knight
Yes.
series, the Batman series, which tried going that way and succeeded to some extent. So it's good to see them take this path with one of our favorite
So I think it's really interesting how they're focusing on the old man Logan story that you
Yeah.
really pointed out, right? Because Wolverine has been there like for ages. He's like around 350 years old or something, right?
That's
Like
right.
one of the oldest characters in.
And not
in
to
the
forget the
X-Men series.
quintessential X-Men, because a lot of the movies have generally focused around him.
And there's been an evolution of
Yeah.
sorts for Wolverine. So what's your take? I'm sure you are excited about Logan. We've talked about it, but any special words?
See, I'm excited like the rest of us, but it feels a bit sad because it's the end of an era, right?
Yeah.
He started out as the first X-Men for us.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the movie came out way later, we started reading the comics. We liked him as a comic
Yeah.
character because
Yeah.
of his killer instinct and
Yes,
everything,
That's
right? And people normally call him as he's the best at what he does or something, right?
Yeah.
And when you read
CM Punk, but yeah.
Yeah. And when you read a character like that, you sort of feel inspired because, like in real life, all of us are struggling with all their problems and everything. And here is a character who is sort not your conventional hero, but he has his own past and everything. He was used by as a weapon.
Yeah.
Then he started discovering about himself.
Weapon X, right? I mean,
yes,
it's called
Weapon
Weapon
X.
X.
Weapon
That's
X.
how it all started.
And right now it's like paying a tribute to the whole journey, and throughout the throughout the movies basically, comics too. I think we have a more detailed space of exploring the character.
That's right.
But in the movies, it's sort of restricted,
Yeah.
as you can see. But through this trailer, we can see that
So it's like when he spoke about giving a tribute to the character. It's like what Star Wars: The Force Awakens did to the rest of the movies, right? There was a lot of nostalgia there, and obviously there's been a journey. I mean, I completely agree with it. Wolverine as a character, if you I mean, to see the first few X-Men movies, and then the crappy Wolverine movies that came in between.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely true, because if you look at the entire X-Men franchise, I don't think they've done justice to all the characters
Most of the
completely
characters,
throughout. So they haven't been able to
Cyclops
flesh
is
out.
one.
Yeah, absolutely,
Cyclops is
everybody. So they haven't been able to flesh out these characters properly.
Yes.
But Wolverine was that one character which actually, because it hit so well with the audiences, is the one character which they could flesh out. And then Hugh Jackman is
And this is when the character was introduced, when Hugh Jackman was told that Hugh Jackman was told that he's going to play the character. There was a lot of criticism which was there, because when you look at Wolverine as a character when it was made, it's kind of different, right? It's a
evolved over time.
shorter male.
plus it's a
who's
very iconic character to play. You normally
It sure is.
there's a lot of
I agree with that. I'm sure with this era ending, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of actors, newcomers and otherwise, who are going to be really excited if they get an opportunity to play Wolverine in the future. That's insane. That's like playing a Batman or a Superman in the DC comics.
Let's hope it's not another Ben Affleck.
He isn't that bad though.
That's a discussion for
It's a controversial, and we might talk about it in one of the future videos. But then, again, he's not that bad, man.
Yeah.
And while we were discussing all that, obviously we delved into the dark side of the whole thing, wherein we discussed characters which are not that good.
Right.
He calls it the worst characters, he says shittiest characters, and I just don't want to talk about them. But anyway, we're going to talk about those characters which are not that good.
Which weren't created very well.
Which are not created well, which have some
and
really shitty mutant powers which you will not be really proud of. So
the writers were messing with us.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Or I don't know what they were smoking when they created those characters and they got approved and they were in the comic books and everything. But anyway, we're going to talk about some of these characters, 3 actually. And Amer, why don't you start with your pick?
Sure. So the character I'm going to talk about is this mutant whose real name is Douglas Aaron Ramsey, and yes, he has nothing to do with the Arsenal player who is also named Aaron Ramsey. Although justifying his origin, he was created in 1984. So his mutant name is Cypher. That is with a C.
I have heard about it. I heard about it. Then
okay, so just to explain.
I'm not going to spoil it though for you.
Sure.
So please carry on.
Just to explain to you what Cypher, his mutant super ability is he is a semi-telekinetic. He's also a semi-linguistic.
Okay, he's a semi-hero.
Yeah, so he's a semi-hero, but
wait for it.
While calling him a semi-hero still has some sort of meaning to it. What his power basically is he is a human form of Google Translate.
He's the Google Translate.
Which basically means he can translate any language, be it written or spoken, into English, or he can understand any language.
And he can translate it to anything.
Yeah. So he can basically act as a translator for the X-Men. He is a part of.
We have apps on the phone which can
exactly. So with all due respect to the
apps, platform whenever they want to.
We are going to cut this out. This part. No.
We'll not cut it.
So basically, this character is pretty old. It was created in 1984. So I'm sure the creators at that point of time didn't think that there would be a computer app in everybody's house which a basic household appliance which could basically give you the meaning of any language. So this character was not, and the lame thing about this character is not only is the superpower that this character has very not so super, but moreover the entire history of the character is very normal, as in it's not super heroic. So if you look at the origins, he's a normal person who finds out he has this ability
To translate.
this superhero, yes, the superpower, and he has the chance to go into Professor Xavier's School of Gifted Children, but he doesn't. He goes instead into Emma Frost's school, which at that point of time she's working with the Hellfire Club. He doesn't know she's one of the bad guys. A lot of things happen. He finally ends up with the X-Men.
Okay.
But once he comes, while the story is moving along, when this happens, when he comes into the X-Men, the fold of the X-Men, he basically has nothing to do. All he does is translate stuff for them.
Okay.
Even, and going to the fact that once there is one certain arc where he goes to Asgard and he loses a fight to a maid in Asgard. So it's absolutely zero in terms of physical strength, any sort of physical combat ability, none whatsoever. His only power is that he can translate
But
languages.
he looks good, I suppose, right?
Yeah, so that the one thing that the writers could do for him was give him.
They were generous enough
they were generous
to
enough
that,
to
you
give
know
him a
what,
good look.
just have some good
So they made
looks.
him blonde, and he's quite literally a mutant, blonde mutant. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
what his Tinder profile would read like a blonde, good-looking translator.
Yeah,
So
I guess.
imagine this. I mean,
That's a
obviously,
superpower.
obviously, it's a shitty mutant power to have. But we'll also talk about from our Indian minds, because obviously we're really good with jugaad and
Yeah.
like we say frugal innovation. So, what is that one thing that you think he will be really good at?
So as we
Apart
were,
from superhero stuff.
yeah.
obviously.
So if he existed in real life, we thought maybe he could be a good translator for the UN, or no, I don't know.
You can walk in.
Cypher, you're hired.
Yeah. So I mean, apart from that, then his entire story arc until his death, he's a very lousy character who keeps falling in love with women, but they generally don't seem to love him back. So
Okay.
he first falls in love with Kitty Pryde, but who's Shadow Cat, but she's already in a relationship with Peter Rasputin, who's Colossus, so that doesn't happen. Then he falls in love with Psylocke, but that doesn't end up well, because then he falls in love with Wolfbane, who is this lady basically who looks like a wolf.
Looks like
But
Okay.
even she doesn't like him, because there's this entire arc with this another creature called Bird Brain, who Wolfsbane has a thing for.
Okay.
So to the end, Cypher tries to save Wolfsbane, but
Bird brain is an insult.
Bird Brain, yeah, Bird Brain is some sort of a creature. So he tries to save Bird Brain, but dies in the process.
So when a character dies saving a character named Bird Brain, you know that's a very shitty character.
Yeah,
right?
that-
I mean, it's
that's a very shitty life that
it's
you've
like
had.
a low. That's
Yeah.
like a new low that you can achieve in life.
Yeah,
Anyway, so that was Cypher.
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 It's time for what's
How
your
many?
pick?
How many issues? Oh, sorry. How many issues did they have?
So then they had, they resurrected the character. I don't know for what joy, but they did for some god awful reason, and continues to be there in the background in a lot of issues. But the first issue in which he came out was, I think, New Mutants, the 13th issue. That was the first issue.
Okay. I'll check
What's your
it.
pick, Sanjoy?
Pick? Come to think of it, I'll pick Jubilee, I guess. Because I don't know. She has been in a lot of X-Men movies,
Right, right.
and I think
Very small role though.
very small. But
Yeah.
I remember her very clearly, seeing her when we were kids back in school, when we had Star Plus.
That's right.
She used
The
to be one of those
animated-
colorful
animated
characters
Right.
with the
So
goggles and
actually,
everything.
I think if I'm correct, she was one of the characters introduced as a part of the animated series and then stuck on into the comics. But they wanted to have a new protagonist in the animated series, but it really didn't work out because the reactions are very mixed to
Why
negative.
did you like her? I mean,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
What's her power, by the way?
Point is, when you place her power is producing fireworks, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Colorful fireworks.
Diwali.
See,
Yeah.
Diwali.
So
But we have seen her in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
She has made cameo appearances,
That's right.
appearances everywhere, I guess. In
Most
X-Men.
of the-
most of
most
them.
of the movies, yeah.
But think about it. If in that world, if there's a fight or something, what's the best you can do with
You can
fireworks?
distract people, no? You're like, oh, look at all those colorful fireworks that are happening this side while the war is happening.
I think you could make her the brand ambassador for Diwali.
I mean, yeah. I mean, in India, like we were
India,
discussing,
she'll
in
be
India,
a-
I think she's gonna be like a hit. Like, I mean,
She'll be a multimillionaire.
Too bad she wasn't born in India.
yeah. Like every other festival, she'll be like in the night, she'll be like burning firecrackers here and there, and people will be like so happy for.
Shadi maybe.
I think.
Oh yeah, that's
Shadi
like
maybe, yeah. So the idea. I
When
think-
India wins a match, tab bhi.
See, the idea behind introducing her as a character was to, I believe, focusing on the teens
Yeah.
at that point of time, right? Because she was introduced as a teen character, and they wanted someone that people could relate to, at least the kids could relate to, because they obviously Wolverine or Cyclops or all these characters were still like older people for the
Yeah.
kids at that point of time, and that was the idea. But obviously, I mean, it doesn't really help if you have fireworks,
Fireworks.
as a mutant power.
Okay, let's say she's a colorful character, but no, in my book, no.
Colorful characters.
Useless
yeah.
character.
Okay, you can say that.
So what about
so
you?
While obviously we have discussed about two, I have one character here which Marvel actually says it. X-Men really says that that's actually one of the worst characters of all time, or actually the worst character of all time. So here's a character.
Who was that?
His name is. I have these notes just to make sure I don't miss on anything, because that's some really kick-ass stuff here.
Sure.
Bailey Hoskins.
Okay.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, neither have I.
Which is fine. Most of the people haven't. But so his first and only appearance was in Marvel Comics, when in this 5-part story, which was that time called The Worst X-Men Ever.
Was that the name of the book?
That was the name of the book. That was the name of the
Okay.
5-part book when this character was introduced. So he was supposed to be a parody story, obviously, and it was outside the whole X-Men continuity. So obviously there were no major characters there apart from the Beast, who's going to be here in part of it. So regarding Bailey's background, this is really interesting. Huh? His mother's power is X-Division,
Okay.
Okay.
which is kind of okay. I mean, again, there is a job for. And his father could produce massive amounts of heat. So what do you mean by that?
Okay.
So I'll tell you.
Is he like something like Johnny Storm?
No. This is much more interesting. You can actually open your anda shop here. So in one of the how his mother explains the power is that your father could fry, and I'm quoting
Okay.
what they said. Your father could fry an egg on his bare chest if he wanted to.
That's like what?
Okay.
And Bailey said, but who is going to eat that? No, he didn't say that. But just imagine, that is the power. You can just break an egg here.
Again, he could work at a Delhi and like breakfast Delhi.
Maybe a
Omelette
stall or
like,
something that he can
perfect.
have. So when he gets to, so he's like 12 or 13, and so his parents are like, you know what, let us sit with him and let us explain to him that he's also a mutant. And they're like, you're a normal guy. He's just a normal kid, huh? I mean, like, no special ability or anything. He's not that good looking or whatever. So he's like sitting there and he's like, yeah, tell me. So he's like, you know what, you are a mutant. And his first reaction is, which is good. I mean, keeping in mind the whole how X-Men are treated differently, mutants are treated differently. He's so happy. He actually compares himself to Harry Potter, which is cool, right? I mean, you're actually like comparing it to another character who got to know about his powers and everything. And cut short, what they take him to Dr. Hank McCoy, who's the Beast, and they do some experiment. He does some experiments on that. The idea is to test what is X gene is all about. And they do that, and then he's like, you are a mutant. And he's like, oh my god, yeah, I'm a mutant. And he's like super excited, huh? He's like, and you have the power. You can, you can explode. He's like, wow, I am like Gambit, but I am that material who can explode.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, you can explode yourself. So like, oh, that is cool. I mean, and then I can regenerate myself, and I'll be like so cool. I'll be like Wolverine.
Right.
And he's like, no, when you explode, you die.
Wait, what?
Okay.
So
One-time use.
So it's like, you are a suicide bomber.
That makes sense.
He's gonna die.
There are a lot of groups.
He's gonna die after that, and he's like very disappointed. And obviously, I mean, who
So
would
was
not
like
be, right?
that how the story ends?
No. This is solely. I'm not gonna talk about the story here. You need to Google search and same goes here as well. But what he really does is that then he with his parents are then just walking what happens is a sentinel comes and just lands on his parents and they die. And then
That was like not.
it's like
foreseen.
it's like in a Hindi movie you have to like kill someone and like next shot then there is a frame with a picture with a garland there and
B grade Hindi movie.
so that and then all the X-Men come and they save him and everything. And a fun fact though, he almost exploded when he saw Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique.
Really?
No, I just made it up. I just made it up, bro. I had to. Hey, this issue was first released digitally last year, January 6th, 2016. And the physical version was in the month of February itself, 24th of February.
I'm sure everybody would have bought it.
I think, but the thing is that while we're making fun of Bailey, I have one thing to say. I've read through the comic. It's a really interesting comic. You should go through it because again, it's not a part of the whole X-Men continuity, and it's his story. And obviously, it is lame because you don't see a superhero. There are some other characters as well, which are, by the way, Rags and Riches, a brother-sister duo.
Okay.
Rags can touch anything and it turns into
Rags.
and Riches if someone if he touches something that turns into gold.
Okay.
That's their power, which is not bad in a way, and that's primarily it. And it's a pretty nice movie, this comic book, and then with the whole build up and everything, and then something happens, but I don't want to spoil that. So please do check all these comic books. I know these are not the best of the characters that we have to watch out for, but there are some interesting stories that you should know. And obviously, I think in a way it's good to know about these kind of characters because you can at least make fun of these characters, right? You can have a good time talking about these characters, I suppose. There are quite a few honorable mentions, if I may. There is a character which is like a love child of Dr. Otto Octavius and Nick Fury. Can you guess the name?
Are you referring to Callisto?
I was referring to Callisto.
Good lord.
Yeah.
It's all those tentacles coming in, and then there is a patch in one of the eyes.
That's
Nick
well
Fury.
thought of by you.
And then there is a character which is just called Skin. Because
Let's just not go there.
Yeah, just Skin, like Skin. That's the name of the character.
What does he do? Shed skin? Tattoo his skin?
I don't know. It's just.
I think the character doesn't have skin or something.
No. There is some.
That
like
was skinless.
It's kind of like Mr. Fantastic.
Okay.
But without the brain. Like without not exactly the brain, but without the knowledge and the.
Okay.
Without any IQ.
There's like
Yeah,
a
the
zombie.
Yeah. Kind of that. So do check out for that character as well. So these were some of the characters that we think are the worst ever. If you don't agree with us and if you know any other character which is like the worst of the worst, do share it with us in the comments below. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
For that. And please do check out our blog, buzzcontinuum.com, because we will be talking about mutants in the month of February.
So do check out our different posts and articles that we post.
Do check, and please do like us, subscribe to this channel. This is our first video and this is going to be really helpful and will be really motivating if you will subscribe
By
to
the way,
us in the comments.
welcome to send us your articles also. We will be very glad to publish
there,
them.
There is a section of that. If you go to the site buzzcontinuum.com, there is a section which is going to be dedicated to you all.
That's
and
right.
wherein we would love to hear from you guys and the
So-
articles that they have to share. So that's pretty much it. Can we end it the way we should, like with a Star Wars?
Not
Like,
again.
Come on, man, please. We have to.
God.
We have to. Come on.
Kar lete hain. Pick up.
Yeah, let's
Pack up
just do
karna
it.
hai.
Let's do
Fine.
it. So, we just say 1, 2, 3. May the force be with you. Us, you,
Yeah, you,
everyone.
everyone.
Everyone. Yeah.